Hello and welcome back to Realm of Thrones. So, as we are very much prepared, well, for the inevitability that is a peace agreement, of course, you know, we're very much used to that by now. Anyway, I'm going to be declaring war once again. This is actually really funny, by the way, that I am, shall we say, penalized more if I was a vassal than if I am a mercenary. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining one bit. I am just very, very pleased, actually, that that is indeed the case, because it makes it a lot easier for us to do what we need to do. Oh, yes. So, basically, what we're going to do right here is I am very much hoping that we'll be able to attack both of these right here. I actually don't know whether we're going to be able to... Can we actually deal with these guys? let me just take a look real quick. Yep. No. We should be absolutely fine. We should be absolutely fine. Oh, whoa. We're only getting one? Okay, we're only getting one in the battle. Okay, that's actually kind of interesting. They were close enough, in my opinion, for them to both be included in the battle, but oh well. It doesn't matter. It actually makes it easier for me, of course. So, what I've actually been doing is I've done a little bit of, a little bit of progression off screen. Nothing too dramatic, of course, because I don't want you to miss anything. But here's the thing. I've just been leveling smithing. That's it. I've just been leveling smithing. I've just been trying to get as many parts unlocked as I possibly can. That's also the main, I think that's actually the main hurdle for us most of the time. When it comes to smithing, it's basically just unlocking the parts. And thankfully, obviously, if you don't know this, there is a really, really easy way of getting parts unlocked. Obviously, there's going to be a number of different ways to do this, but this is the way that I've personally found to be really, really easy to do. And basically, all you do is, and this is assuming that you maybe have unlimited stamina or not. It works both ways, but it's just going to take you a lot longer to... get the parts needed to do this particular strategy. If you have stamina, of course. I mean, obviously, that is going to take longer. So, anyway, the point is, the strategy is this. Basically, you just create as many lower-ish tier weapons as you can, and I'm talking about, tier 2, tier 3, something that you have an overabundance of resources to be able to do, to be able to craft them as much as you possibly can. And that's it. That's all you do. And you just have the 2 perks that provide you with additional discoveries, or should we say, a 100% increased learning rate for recipes from smelting and from smithing itself. And that's all you do. Very easy. Very easy, because here's the great thing about the system. I actually feel like the developers of Bannerlord have implemented the smithing system in a rather nice way, in that you don't get duplicate parts. Can you imagine how absolutely awful that would be if you gained duplicate parts randomly throughout the time that you're attempting to smith, and it just goes, "You've earned a duplicate part. Too bad. Try again," or something along those lines. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how terrible that would feel? Yeah, that would be really, really awful. I've played games in the past, actually. There was one game in particular that I won't mention right now, but it is a favorite of mine. Despite its problems, it was still a favorite of mine at the time. Anyway, the point is, the RNG and the fact that they would give you, a very low chance to get the things that you would want to get, it would just be so sad. It would be so sad, because you're always wanting to get something really, really fun, but in those cases, well, you're just kind of out of luck, aren't you? But yeah, anyway, I actually did level up, and as you can see, we do have an attribute point and a focus point to spend, and I have respect our spouse as well, so she's hopefully going to be doing a relatively decent job for us. And otherwise, what we want to do is we want to go and see... What do we want here, actually? Oh, no, this is going to be a bit of a problem. I guess one-handed, because I am actually going to be using my Arak relatively soon, and we'll go for 7 points in intelligence, because that will finally get me the required learning rate to get to 275. I think I only need 7 points in a certain thing to be able to get to 275. I don't need 8. So that's nice. And yeah, we're good. And otherwise, what we can do is we can now make Eve our engineer. As you can see, she actually has 60 in engineering now. And we're just going to go straight on in here. Now, yeah, so as I say, that is the strategy, because basically if they, obviously they don't give you duplicate parts, but if they did, that would be terrible. But yes, they don't give you duplicate parts. And so as a result, when you unlock something, when you unlock all of the tier 1 stuff, all of the tier 2 stuff, all of the tier 3 stuff, obviously this is a very lengthy procedure to get all of these things, right? It is very, you know, not very time effective, let's just say that. It's not very time effective, not very resource effective either, but this has been one of the best ways that I can find to basically just fill out your entire you know, recipe tree, as it were, or menu, or whatever you want to call it, with every single kind of smithing part that you could ever want. So that's the way that I've been doing it, but obviously you can do it any way you want. You know, there are no doubt many different ways to do it. For example, there are ways that you can literally just go and, well, you can go and buy various weapons, or you can just have them smelt the weapon that you want to gain the part from. That's obviously very much applicable as well. But this is my way that I've just described, is just making it so that you will gain the parts eventually. It is just a matter of investing the time and investing the resources. That's it. There is no RNG involved in my method. So, you know, if you're like me and you're a little bit annoyed and frustrated with RNG and randomness, well, then you don't really have to worry about it too much. I'll show you my smithing menu in just a moment, because I think it's actually quite interesting to see that stuff, just so that you get an idea as to how many parts we've actually unlocked and how many are actually available. And actually, you know what's quite funny? I actually don't think that a lot of these are that effective at all as parts. Now, obviously, I could be over-exaggerating here, but I'm pretty sure that the menu itself is over-inflated with a lot of different parts that don't actually really do much. They're not really going to be as effective as, well, I would say probably 90% of the parts that you see in the smithing menu are not going to be that good in comparison to the other 10%. That's just my own thinking on it, because if I look at the smithing menu, I'm obviously, you know, looking at the smithing menu quite often, because I'm going in there a whole bunch and I'm seeing what I can do to, you know, make a decent-ish weapon, or weapons, shall we say. And I'm looking at these of these stats, right? I'm looking at these stats and I'm looking at the various items, and I'm just thinking to myself, that is just awful, you know? This blade is terrible. This handle is awful, you know? And there are so many different pommels. Now, don't get me wrong. Pommels are obviously useful, but are they actually that good to have so many of them? Because there are so many. There are literally, I don't even know, what, 20 different pommels, or 25 or 30, or I don't even know how many. But there are a lot of different pommels, and they very rarely give you any kind of difference, even in terms of aesthetics as well. Because if you're thinking about aesthetics, then obviously that's a very different thing, because maybe you want to create a really good-looking weapon. And if you want to create that good-looking weapon, then you want to try to find a pommel, a handle, and so on, that all fit and work together. And obviously that's kind of a different thing. Because obviously if you think about the stats, which I'm mostly going to do almost all the time, because I'm always thinking about the stats and how good it's actually going to be in the hand of our character, rather than you know, how it looks. Even though some of them do look amazing, don't get me wrong, they do look really good some of the time, but those times are not really that often, unless you're playing a mod like this, because Realm of Thrones does add a lot of very cool looking weapons. Let me just say that. It really does. And I am forever thankful for that, because the base game weapons, I mean, you can see here, look at all these different blades, right? We've got a lot of Sparta blades, we've got broadswords, we've got saber blades, and so on and so forth. But the difference between these, you see the difference between these two right here? This is an iron saber blade, and this is a thick saber blade. And do you see the difference between them? I obviously can't mouse over both of them at the same time, unfortunately, so I can't show you the stats at the same time, but you can see just purely from... yeah, I mean, yeah, you can see very easily what the issue is here. The difference is literally a variance in the weight of 0.15, and in the swing damage and the thrust damage factor by 0.1. And you see what I mean? This basically has no difference whatsoever, and look at the aesthetic change. The visual change on this is absolutely... It doesn't do anything. There is no visual change whatsoever. I mean, very, very little, let's just say that. There's a very little change. And it just kind of begs the question, why is there, you know, two of these? Why are there two of these? It doesn't make any sense. That's just from my perspective, of course. And it's just a very... I'm nitpicking really, really hard here, to be honest, you know, because technically... it doesn't really matter if there are two different choices, but it just makes it that much more annoying, and that's what I'm talking about, to unlock all of these parts. Anyway, I did tell you that I was going to show you all my parts, not in that way, but I'm going to show you all of these over here. And so you could see right here, I've got almost all down to, yeah, I've actually got all tier 3s, and we don't have any of the tier 4s with the exception of the you know, the things that the mod gives me, and some random stuff just from smelting that I've gained over the course of the time playing. But you can see, look at how many parts there actually are to a one-handed sword. It's absolutely insane. And being able to unlock all of this is going to take an immense amount of time if you don't have infinite stamina or whatever. And it's also, I mean, look at this. I unlocked 348 parts for the one-handed sword. But what's really cool is that I am actually able to create an arak that I might actually like to use. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Actually, wait a minute. I don't have enough charcoal. Well, that's obviously a bit of a shame, isn't it? Yes. So unfortunately, Tumbleton does not seem to have what I need. So what I'm going to do is we're going to make our way over here, and I'll try to find some more enemies to fight, because I feel like it would probably be quite fun to do that. Wow, there's actually a load of robber knights around here. We probably want to deal with them as well, because they are going to actually be preying upon quite a few of my allied forces' villagers and their caravans, and they're small enough that they can actually do that relatively easily. Okay, so we're getting some people getting a bit problematic right there, having having some people getting taken prisoner, which is not exactly good, is it? No, that is not good at all. Let's go into Stony Sept, actually. Maybe there's actually going to be something going on there. Maybe we'll be able to get some hardwood. But it would be wonderful if we could get some, just so that I can create that arak. There we go, we got 25. And do we have any wooden things here? Yeah, we have a couple of these pitchforks as well. Very nice. Alright, great. Yeah, so we're just going to do that very, very quickly. And then you can see here, let me just get this. There we go. A load more of these. Oh, yeah, I absolutely love that. And there we go. Okay, we're done. So now we've got a huge amount of stuff. And let's go ahead and create the arak. And there it is. That's a tier 4. And let's see, do we have the tier... is there actually a guard for this? Is there actually a guard for this? Or... I don't think so somehow. No, it doesn't seem like it. But they do give you some hand armor, so I suppose it is kind of useful. So I guess I will use... What about the Horse Lord? Horse Lord guard sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Or, yeah, why not? Okay, we'll go for something like this. And then there's the arak handle. Obviously, that's going to make it a lot longer. We can also use this if we want to, but that's going to reduce its reach by 20 points, which is very significant. I can also increase the reach of this thing by a pretty significant margin. Is this actually going to do anything? This actually does do something. It increases its swing speed a little bit. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it like that. And then we obviously have the pommel. So what do we want to do? Well, we got a ridged pommel right here. I mean, you can see here, it does change how the thing looks a little bit, but if you think about how it's going to look in our hand, we're not going to see the pommel most of the time. You know what I mean? We're not going to see the pommel, so that's going to be a bit of an issue. Anyway, what does this actually give me? Length, length, length. Okay, yeah, mostly it's just giving me length, which I suppose is okay. This gives me 5.6. Okay, yeah, I guess that's fine. And do we want to... it doesn't seem to really change much, actually. Well, whatever the case, we'll just leave it like so. And we'll just call it... I don't think the name is actually saved for some reason, but we're going to call it... oh, no. Devourer of... I don't want to go for something really, really cliched. Okay, I could go for... Okay, here's the thing. I can either go for something really funny, or I can go for something really cliched. That's all that comes to mind. It's like when someone asks you what your favorite movie is, or what your favorite song is, or what your favorite TV show is. Every single time, boom, your head just goes blank. At least that's what happens to mine. So I'm going to be calling it something like... Devourer of Malevolence. Is that how you spell it? Malevolence? Malevolence? Is that how you spell it? Malevolence? No, it's got to be the O, right? Oh, no, see, now I don't know. Now I don't know whether that's how it's spelled. So now I'm going to call it something else. I'm going to call it something like... Gut Burster. There you go. I went with the stupid name. Wonderful. It's probably not even going to work, to be honest, all things considered. So, is it actually going to work? I highly doubt it, actually. Okay, I created a normal weapon. I don't really want that. I want a masterwork. There we go. There's the masterwork. I actually got a masterwork one. Oh, really? Okay. Well, that's cool. I like that. Okay, so yeah, I'll save the design just because. There we go. Save the design there. And now let's take a look at it. Maybe it's actually going to be something useful. It is a masterwork weapon as well, so it is obviously going to be significantly better than the time I created a dull weapon and then proceeded to complain about why it was terrible. So yes, it's nice that we actually have something a little better now. Okay, there it is. Okay. The swing speed is dramatically worse, but look at the damage. The damage is what we're looking for right there. Yeah, and it is not actually used. It's not actually used the name that I called it. So I assume the naming convention, or you know, the naming thing for the weapons in this mod is just not working, unfortunately, for some reason. I don't know why, but anyway, there we go. All right, so yeah, so that's basically it. I just wanted to show you that because there are just so many parts here, and obviously, if you, I mean, okay, here's the thing. Look at this, alright? If I actually crafted some more one-handed swords earlier, so you could see here that these things actually don't sell for anything either, by the way. One-handed swords literally just don't sell for anything at all. So if you go here and you just smelt, look at this, new smithing part unlocked, and basically every single time you do any kind of smelting, as long as it's a one-handed weapon or a two-handed weapon or whatever you've been working in to try to unlock parts, you're always going to unlock parts that you never had before. And so that's kind of the thing that I've been attempting to do most of the time. And I'm trying to do it so that I don't actually consume any resources that are significantly rare, shall we say. But look at all these handles as well. There's no way that you need all these different handles, in my opinion. I feel like it's just bloating the smithing system for no reason, but you know, that's just how it goes, I guess. Anyway, there we go. So we're just gonna create this, and then I'm gonna show you exactly how this works, because look at this. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Okay. Now, don't worry about my iron getting a little bit low here. That really doesn't matter. But look at how many smithing parts we're unlocking. And I'm even unlocking Cascara blades and so on. As a result, I even unlocked a Valyrian pommel right here. A Valyrian guard. Loads of different parts that I'm able to unlock here. And now what's really cool is we can now just go here, and I can literally just smelt this thing, and we're going to be gaining even more smithing parts unlocked. And that's how I've been doing it, basically. That's my method for unlocking parts really easily. And if you have some strategies as well for unlocking parts for people, then by all means, you know, provide your wisdom if you so desire. You don't have to, obviously. Anyway, yeah, so it's highly recommended to also go for this, Curious Smith, and Curious Smelter. Both of those are basically required to do this a little bit more easily, because otherwise you're going to have a doubly hard time in doing it. So yeah, that's it. So there's my there's my strategy for unlocking things. Okay, so now I'm actually very much looking to be on the hunt. Yes, I'm looking to be on the hunt for some particular enemies. Actually, you know what? I am full up in terms of my inventory, right? So I should probably go in there real quick and see what I can do. I've got some herding problems, but that shouldn't be a major issue at least. And we're just going to sell this. Okay. Is there anything else that we want to do here? Yeah, I actually do want to get rid of some other things. I mean, I've got a huge amount. Look at my salt. Why do I have 86 salt? What? Why do I have so much salt? Okay, I guess I've just been fighting way too many caravans, I guess. Maybe that particular caravan that I fought that one time had a massive amount. I have no idea, but yeah, I do need to get rid of some grain as well. And what about my fish situation? I suppose these are the things that are actually causing me the most problems, so I guess I will just sell some of those as well, even though, I don't know, they're probably going to be quite useful to convert things and so on, but I don't really need it that badly, do I? Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm actually going to try to hover around the allied armies, because obviously if you know, it's probably a good idea to run some interference between these people, because it's going to make it a lot easier for us to pick them off. And you can see here, aha, wait a minute. This guy's actually, wait a minute, what we got? This is a losing battle on the hands of Illyria here. We're going to have to help. We will have to help. This is going to be a harsh one, in my opinion. I feel like we might actually make some pretty big mistakes here by going in, but I feel like we need to, unless we want her to lose. Okay, let me just, I want to wait until daytime, please. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. Let's go straight on in. Okay, I don't think that she would have lost, actually, because she was starting to turn the tide at the very end there. So I don't think she would have lost, but you never know. Maybe it's just generally a good idea. This weapon is interesting. I'm not entirely convinced by it just yet, but I'm sure I'm going to love it once we start leveling up our one-handed skill a little bit more, because at the moment it's oh, what? Okay. 121 damage with a mediocre hit. I actually wasn't attempting to really do much there. I was just kind of swinging randomly for the most part. I mean, yeah, I know what you're thinking. Isn't that what you normally do? Yes, actually, yeah, that is my strategy most of the time. Just randomly swing at everything. Yes. Partially kidding. Partially. Okay, so let's have a look-see here. Can we... Oh, we eliminated Mr. Banefort. He's not going to be very pleased. He's going to send me a very angry letter later on. Alright. There we go. Okay, we're actually not doing too badly, although I am, for some reason, wanting to thrust with this weapon much more than I would like. I don't know why. Okay, yeah, this weapon is very, very difficult to use if you are not used to it, because as you can quite clearly tell, there is a very limited area on the weapon that is lethal, if you know what I mean. If you can make that particular part of the weapon hit, that's the secret. That is the secret to dealing massive damage. And I'm very much hoping... I was kind of hoping I'd do a bit more than that. A little bit more than that, please. Yeah, come on now. Yeah, as you can see. For some reason, I don't know, I guess it's because it's got a little bit of a point on the end that a thrusting attack is available, but I personally feel like it should not be a thrusting weapon, but that is just my own thoughts on it, of course. And we can do some pretty massive damage with it as well. And obviously, if I can level up my one-handed skill, it will eventually turn into an absolutely monstrous thing. So I'm kind of hoping that we'll be able to do that. For some reason, this battle does not seem difficult at all. But I guess, well, I am helping them to outnumber the opponent quite dramatically here, so I suppose that makes a bit of a difference, but I actually would like to get into the lines of archers. If there are any archers around here, please show yourselves. No, there doesn't seem to be any. So I'm just going to speed up the rest of the battle because I can't find any enemies to fight. They're all, you know, consumed by the enormous amounts of people over there on the hill, and I can't actually get anywhere close to them. Anyway, good amounts of influence from that. Very nice indeed. And let's have a look. Let's actually see who we can take prisoner. Maybe there will be some. I'm actually, you know what? You know what? On the one hand, I actually really want to let people go here. But on the other hand, I really don't. Because if I let them go, they're just going to turn up again and again and again. And that's going to be extremely annoying, isn't it? So I'm actually going to be taking them prisoner. And I can only take 2 of them. Oh, okay. Seems like the rest of them were taken by whoever. And that's obviously fine. I don't have a big problem with that. And we're just going to let the rest of them go. Why not? Why not? We're just going to be converting prisoners over time anyway, so it's not really that big a deal. Ooh, we got some really nice new gloves, which I can't use because I'm being as thematic as possible. But I will be giving that to my companions. I suppose they're just going to benefit the most from me adhering to the theme as much as I can. So that's cool, right? I think that's cool. Anyway, now all that is left to be done is just to assess the damage. Let's have a look and see. Okay, so she's got 300. Are you serious? What? Look at this. All of these were just taken prisoner. Oh dear. Where though? That's the question. Where did that actually happen? Can I see? Alice of the Reach. Okay, here we go. I have no idea. Golden Tooth. Over here. Okay, wait a minute. Maybe there's an army limping around. Aha, yes, they had a massive... Whew, they had a lot of people right here. They had a lot of people, and we've got to be a bit careful of this, because otherwise I'm going to get murdered. Okay, so let's have a look-see here. We are going to be going for Uplifting Spirit, I think. This is going to give me that party size limit. Probably the thing that's going to be the most useful for us. And we're going to be going for Good Natured here, I think. Yes. Yes? I actually don't know. Yeah, no, I think that's fine. And what else do we want to go for here? Oh yeah, plus 20% damage while wielding a one-handed weapon without a shield. That is fundamentally the best one. Even though the other one is actually viable. Very, very viable, in fact. But it's just not a favorite of mine. Quincy's over here. I actually kind of want to target the Lannisters a little bit more if I can. We have Willem over here, which would be a relatively decent target. Yes. Hello there, sir. Alright, so it seems like we've got another valley battle on our hands. I'm not a big fan of these valley battles, to be honest. I find them a bit too constricting in regards to our strategies that we could potentially use. And obviously, my strategies are quite limited at the moment anyway, because I don't have, well, as you can quite clearly tell, I really do not have any options. I've basically just got cavalry, and most of the time, well, I could actually do something pretty fun with them. But the main problem arises when we have these situations where I just kind of have to just go in a straight line, you know? It doesn't really give me any opportunity to sort of change my my course of action. You know, we can't flank them, we can't send, you know, anyone else in to be able to do that. Obviously, if you think about it from a Dothraki perspective, obviously that is indeed the theme. That is what we are all about. We are all about, well, cavalry. That's obviously the point, you know. We are all about cavalry. My one-handed is actually doing some really, really nice damage to enemies on the ground. I can assume that that is indeed the case. That is actually supposed to be the case. And that's probably what this weapon is indeed designed to do. I obviously don't really know how effective this weapon would be, or is supposed to be, shall we say, in a mount versus mount situation. I'm sure it's just as effective in a mount versus mount situation, but I probably am just not very good at using it in that. But when it comes to actually fighting against infantry that are on the ground, it seems to have an absolutely perfect, shall we say, trajectory, so that it hits on the head itself every single time you swing. Or shall I say, almost every time you swing. And that is a super effective thing. That is a really, really effective strategy to go for, because obviously if you think about it, you know, being able to hit on the head every single time you're attacking, whether that be a heavily armored target or an archer or whoever, that's a massive benefit. And that's going to do so much more damage than otherwise you would be able to. And especially, this is obviously much better if it is indeed a heavily armored target. Anyway, there we go. We were able to achieve victory against Willem, and we will be taking him prisoner and executing him. As you can no doubt tell, that's kind of our thing right now. That is kind of our main deal here. Alright, so Lannister Knights, they don't actually become anything, so we don't have to worry about them. I'm actually just going to check, just out of curiosity. No, their stats are relatively similar, so we don't even need to worry about them. And we are, well, I mean, look at how much maxed out we are right now in terms of our prisoners. So it doesn't really make any difference, does it? No, it doesn't really make any difference. And we are getting a huge amount of cash as well, which is obviously great. Now, here's the thing. We're going to have to make a decision. And I know I've said this before, but I've kind of asked you in the past. And I'm still thinking, yeah, okay, you know, I'm much more along the lines of, yeah, I think we'll probably create our own faction. At this point, I think that's probably what we're gonna do. But it is still kind of a little bit difficult for me to envision at the moment. I can't really think to myself, oh yes, that is the thing that we will be doing, you know, because I just do not know. I just do not know where that is actually going to be done. Because usually what I would do, if I turn the map around the right way here, usually what I'd do is I would try to figure out the weakest faction, or the, shall we say, one of the most opportunistic ways that we can attack. And, well, there really aren't any. There really aren't any on Westeros at the moment. Obviously, Lotus Bay would have been a really, really good one, but that's obviously been taken by the Targaryens. We've got Tyrosh here. If you recall, I believe the Tyroshi actually asked me to become a vassal of theirs, and they have now been taken over by Dorne. So they're eliminated. They're gone, because that was their last... That was their last fief. So, yeah, there is also that. And then Lys, obviously, is also taken by Dorne. And then you have Mia has also been taken by Dorne. Oh wow, that's pretty crazy. And then you do have the Valantines, which seem to have actually survived quite nicely. So you do have a number of different fiefs from them. And then obviously you have the Westerlands, and you have Novoshi, Bravosi. Oh no, the Westerlands have actually taken that one. And yeah, as well, obviously Bravos has, you know, is still standing over there. And Lorath, I mean, obviously you could technically try to take Lorath, because this is very much out of the way, as you can see here. But that's going to be difficult to hold on to, because despite being a very, very small faction, Lorath is still quite difficult for a single person to take. Because, I mean, look at this. They've got 4,300 combat strength. That's not that little, if you think about it. And they do have a number of different clans as well. But that just comes into its own, where I just think, well, okay, I probably just have to do more. I just have to get more renown, more skills, more power, better, you know, better units, and so on and so forth. And then once we have those, then and only then will we be able to be successful in our efforts to do whatever we need to do, which is obviously to create our own faction. So that's obviously going to take us quite some time. So I'm thinking that maybe what I'll do is maybe I will go off screen at some point, like for example now, because you could see right here, they've just made peace again. Yep. They've just made peace again, and there's really not much I can do, unfortunately. It seems like the Reach doesn't really have the, shall we say, the power to sort of push through the enemy, because as you can see, they actually have exactly the... Oh, we're paying 3,100 now. Well, the Reach is paying 3,100, so apparently the Westerlands just completely murdered them for some reason. Not sure why that happened. But they did, and they've now completely, you know, made things really, really uncomfortable. Ah, it seems like the Iron Islands has actually taken the Bane Fort as well, and they've also taken the Crag, and Fair Castle. Oh, okay. Well, that's very interesting. So obviously the Westerlands have lost quite a few. Wow, yeah, they definitely have. They definitely have. All right, yeah. So they've lost quite a few fiefs to a lot of different factions, but obviously that is indeed, you know, I mean, what can they do about that? And also the Iron Islands are doing very well. Look at that, 8,100 combat strength. Very, very nice. The North is actually still fine, by the way. They've actually started to recapture a lot of their lost territory, because they actually had very little initially when just after the Red Wedding happened, obviously. And yeah, apart from that, obviously you have Night's Watch. Dragonstone is paying tribute to the Reach at the moment. Volantis seems to be the possibly easiest one to attack, but they still have 3,000 combat strength. So Sarnor might be the easiest one. Sarnor might be the easiest one for us, because they are at war against Lorath and against Dawn. But we know how effective the Sarnorians can actually be, or Sarnoria, shall we say, because they actually have those Sarnori spiders, don't they? So that's going to be a bit of an issue, but otherwise, I guess we'll just see what happens. I'm obviously going to be sticking around here, and I'll try to earn as much renown as I can. I don't know how that's really going to go, because I need to earn another 1,000 renown to be able to get to Clan Tier 5, which is going to be a pretty hefty requirement. So I'm not sure if that's actually going to even be possible in such a short space of time, but I guess we'll see. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.